So, Henry, why don't you take us into the film to tell us what we're getting with Troy Franklin?
Yeah. We'll start here with, there it is, the a big play. This is first quarter of the USC game. USC's defense, not great. The safety over the top, though, actually, third-round pick, Kalen Bullock, I think third-round pick.
Somehow they had like a couple of draft picks on defense for even being awful.
There's just like holes, though. And so Oregon, you can see they have this touchdown. That was another big play. Here they go again. This is just Troy down here. It's a very shallow post is what I'm going to call it. It's almost like a deep slant. There's the throw. And there he is. He creates that separation on a slant. Safety's way back here. But I think what's interesting is this angle. Like, you would think this guy over here is going to be able to tackle this guy at some point, like get over here and cut him off. But instead, even from here, like you're on top of him. You just can't let him get all the way to the sideline. He turns him around and he's off and he's running, and it's a big touchdown. And that's just kind of what Troy Franklin did. The numbers are really, really awesome. 14 touchdowns last year, 8 touchdowns the year before. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the only player with more touchdowns in college football over the past 2 years. The 1,300 receiving yards, I think, was top 5 in the country. Back-to-back, especially as like a younger guy. I think this entire receiver draft class is like 30 of them who get chosen. Only 3 are younger than Troy. And back-to-back years leading Oregon in receiving yards. So there's a lot of production to like. You really like the speed. Like it's obvious why people were super, super excited about him.
Without a doubt. And I think to go on to those numbers, I think he has the most 100-yard receiving games in Oregon football history. I think he has the most touchdowns in Oregon football history.
Receptions?
I think he had, receptions. I think he had 8 100-yard receiving games, which is tied maybe for the most in the entire country.
I believe
this year as well. So, I mean, you just want to talk about production. He's the ultimate producer.
Definitely. All right, next one. We're just going to hit a bunch of like these good plays first. We actually talked about this one a couple days ago, but this is just that little hitch, or it's just that off coverage on the RPO, catches it, and then like 2 tacklers right here. He shouldn't be able to do much, but he's able to get this first guy to the ground, gets a one-on-one with the second guy, gets around him, and goes and gets a first down. So like this run after catch offense, they throw a bunch of screens, they throw a bunch of short passes, a bunch of drags and slants, so that Troy and the other receivers had a chance to make plays after the catch, which he is really good at. And you see some of those movement skills on this play, which is a bit of a broken play, I believe. Yeah, that's him all the way down on the outside. He's just got this deep crosser, and you see the rush is a little bit. It's sort of coming. Yeah, you can't step up. So Bo rolls out. Franklin's going to go all the way around here. Oh, I hit the wrong way. Oh. There we go. It's all good. So Bo rolls out. He throws it. Just launches it up into all this space. It almost looks like when Tyreek Hill was playing with Mahomes, where he's have this big crosser and it's just there's nobody over here. You just need to put the ball like anywhere in here, and he's going to come back and go get it. That's exactly what happens. Then he makes the guy miss, and it's a touchdown. So that's just like the speed and spacing and Bo's ability to just find him all the way across the field. Hit another one here. They had this weird little fall leaves graphic. So there he is at the bottom. There's these little leaves here that I hate. He's just going up the sideline.
What leaves are you talking about?
There's like these. Right here, see them?
That orange thing?
Yeah, they.
I thought you drew that.
No, these leaves just kind of like came off of the scoreboard during the play, which is awful for my clip. But this is the comeback because again, with all that speed, if these guys are gonna come up and play you at the line of scrimmage like this, you just scare them deep, force them to start running, turn back, you have the comeback. And so you see a bunch of those too, and that's Bo's numbers downfield on the sidelines really good. It's for that reason, for the most part. We mentioned this before. It's a lot of receivers kind of coming back toward the ball. And it's good they didn't know how to do that. Where is he? Oh, here's the slot. This one's a little bit more interesting. Just shows a little bit. Or no. Yeah, this is he's going to make this little move against zone coverage and just bait this linebacker outside and get inside of him. So right here, and just bang, just jumps right inside. He's open for the catch. It's a first down. Just like nice, smooth little route there.
Yep.
Man, and that just right there, what you showed, Henry, is chemistry between a receiver and a quarterback. That's why I'm like, Sean, why are you saying that it was just pure coincidence that you drafted Troy Franklin? You can like the player and also like that he played with the quarterback and already has that chemistry there, because I think that's something that can help both of these guys out right away, is they have that chemistry. So they know on those short routes, especially Broncos are going to throw a lot of short routes, and I'm sure that's when chemistry comes in even more, especially for reading defenses and knowing, okay, he's faking outside, but as a quarterback, since I've worked with him for so many years and have thrown the ball so many times, I know that when he does that, he's going to break inside on option routes or something like that. So I don't buy that there was no correlation there, or it was a total coincidence. And there's nothing wrong with that. Get the quarterback, the receiver he likes, especially when it's a productive, really good receiver, as you're showing us, Henry.
Yeah. And this is the last of like the positive clips, but just a little bit different one. What?
You about to go dark?
I was about to get dark.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get super dark, but like, again, when you go through Troy Franklin the first time, you're like, oh, look at the production, and he's so young, and like, there's so many things. Like, of course he's gonna be like a borderline first round pick.
Yep.
But then when he falls, you can kind of piece together why he fell, and it does make a lot of sense. But that's ominous. Let's look at one more happy play. This is just against zone coverage. He's up here in the slot, little number 2. So he's just going to break in right behind this guy. Again, one of my complaints with Troy Franklin, a lot of the time he'll round the route instead of make the break. Against zone coverage, not that big of a deal. But, yep, you see him just coming through right there. And Bo puts it in this little gap. And there you go. That's a nice gain. So there is a whole bunch of... There's more versatility than maybe he gets credit for.
Well, I got to say, like, watching this, listening to Oregon fans... looking at some film myself, reading everything about him, I do wonder, how did this guy fall?
Yeah.
Not out of the first round, but how did he fall out of the second round, and especially how did he fall out of day 2? I mean, we were talking about it during the draft when I called into the show with you guys, and it's like, okay, pick number 76, that's got to be Troy Franklin, right?
Yeah.
And then the Broncos pass on him, but then every team passed on him until the second pick of the 4th round. So I am curious just why that happened.
Yeah. I believe this is where we start getting into that. This is him down here at the bottom. Again, I don't know why, if you're broadcasting a TV football game, that you would put a player under the scoreboard, but it is what it is. Here they are down here. He's just going, this is the little in right here. 3rd and 10, but instead of just breaking off square inside, he fades upfield. Here he is on the break. And remember, he was breaking right here, but instead of just going straight across and trying to catch the ball, he kind of curls, and that gives the corner a chance to get underneath it, get an angle, break it up, and it's incomplete. So that just, again, like, it's just not polished football. And for a super young receiver, it's not a huge surprise that he's not polished, but there is some Marvin Mims there where, like, there might just be some things that need to be sharpened up for a 21-year-old receiver.
Right.
Yeah, here he is at the bottom. One of the things that we've kind of ignored recently is that he's 176 pounds, which is really, really small for a football player.
I was going to say really big.
Yep. Oh, wow. Of course. Yes, of course. He was the 17th receiver drafted. Only Xavier Worthy, of all the guys drafted in front of him, is lighter. And you see that show up occasionally with like the contested catches and stuff, but especially when you're asking him to block. So this is the Pac-12 championship game. Here he is. Bo's coming out here. He's going to try to run. Troy Franklin didn't even try to get him. Now you got this guy. Oh, just straight whiff there. Now you've got 2 guys coming to hit your quarterback on a run, and you just don't love that. Like, if you could just take out one of those guys, then maybe Bo makes a move and beats the other one. Or, you know, like, he just doesn't get hit by 2 guys at the same time at the goal line. You just don't love that. But that's not really his game, and it never will be, because he's not a big guy.
I don't know if I'm even expecting that of him.
Yeah.
Like you say, he's 177. He's probably running a deep route.
Yeah.
And the way he blocks guys is just pretending he's running a deep route and making them follow him more so than trying to get hands on. So I'm not mad at that. I just hope they're not putting him in there and position to do that.
Yeah.
Portland is the blocker.
And Tim
Right.
Patrick.
Or
Right.
Tim Patrick.
He'll kill
Let
somebody
this guy
out there.
run a route.
The
Like
only
Lil
thing-
Jordan also.
The only thing he wants to not do in the NFL is he needs to show effort. But like, yeah, if he's going against a 205-pound, 7-year vet corner that's much stronger than him, he's going to get beat. And
Yeah.
if you're a coach and you're putting him in a position where he's the key blocker, it's probably on
that's smart.
you,
Yeah.
Sean.
Yep.
If you do that, but he's got to show the effort, because I think that's when a coach will say, you're off the field and I'm going to bench you for a little bit if you're not even showing effort.
Well, and especially because, they have so many packages too. Like, Lil Jordan Humphrey might make the team, might not. But there were a lot of times he got on the field because he could block and the other guys would either wouldn't
Yeah,
block, couldn't
yeah.
block. And so it's just one of those things that maybe you do lose a couple snaps a game because of it.
How much would you love being lined up against Troy Franklin? It's a run.
That'd be pretty sweet. If I could have got that my whole career, I think I'd still be playing.
This is Troy right here underneath the scoreboard again. This is just a deep route. There they are down there. Oh, no, this is the post. Never mind. I was thinking of a different play. So breaks inside. Not much separation. Again, it's just like you can't really see it here, but it's one of those just like rounded routes where he's able to make the catch, which is a good play. You would love to see somebody like an athlete like that be able to create separation on that post rather than just have the guy draped on his back. And it's great that he made the catch, but he made things just a little bit tougher there. He's not a perfect route runner. There he is catching the ball. This one is, I kind of like this because here he is down at the bottom. It's just kind of fun to see, like, he gets off the line so fast. He's right here. Everybody else is back there. Like, it just shows the extra two-step burst.
Yeah.
Gets open over the top. Wide open over the top. Perfect ball right in his hands. And he dropped it, which is kind of a trend. He dropped 10% of his targets last year, which was it was the most, I believe, of any receiver who's drafted in front of him. Yeah.
How's that going to bode with Broncos fans?
Not
Especially
well.
with Jerry, like, just have left.
Yeah. Broncos fans do not like when you drop the ball. Nobody does.
No.
It's not fun being in the locker room after you dropped a touchdown or a big play. So
Yep.
hopefully he gets that figured out. Because that was my thing. Like, the route running could be cleaned up. He's explosive. He's quick. They have chemistry. You know, my thing is just, can you catch the football when we need you to catch it?
Yep.
And I guess 90% of the time you can.
90%.
That's just one of those things where, like, you can't be a 90% guy at the wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Other
Yep.
positions,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but not as a wide receiver.
I mean, that's one of the things that the Broncos missed the most with Tim Patrick over these past 2 years is on a 3rd and 6,
Yeah.
you need a catch, you go to Tim Patrick. He's always going to come up with that.
Yeah. It's funny because every position is so different. Because if you, like, catch 90% of your passes, like, people are on you for the balls you didn't catch.
Yeah.
If you complete 90% of your throws, you're the best quarterback of all time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
just changes.
And just flip it for
Exactly.
offensive linemen. Or the guys in the trenches, if you get a sack in a game,
Yeah.
probably a successful game. Or 2 sacks, it doesn't really matter what else you do. That's
Balling.
a success.
Yeah.
If you give up 2 sacks as an offensive lineman,
Get him out of here, coach.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So on top of that, he has very small hands. So when you have a drop problem and you have small hands, it's like, oh, this might actually, like, it might not be a fluke. The year before, he had 3% drops, which is a much better number, and that's about average for this receiver class. So maybe it's a bit fluky, but that number isn't great. But then the other thing is, like, with him, it's all going to come down to the speed. Like, does that actually just win for you? And in going back through, 4.41 is really fast. And he ran a 4.41 That's like, I'm
That's
not going to
fast.
say that's slow. But when you look at the 16 receivers drafted in front of him, 4.41's only faster than 8 of those guys. So, like, with the way the game is getting faster,
Right.
4.41 isn't just like burn everybody down the field every time necessarily. And just for, like, you know, Demaryius Thomas, Marvin Mims, both 4.38 guys. Just so that, like, you can put perspective in your mind what exactly 4.41 is. Damari Mathis, a 4.39, which means in football terms, like, you're not necessarily just going to be able to put Troy Franklin one-on-one with Damari and expect Troy just to burn him down the field. Damari was a step faster. Riley Moss a 4.45, Pat a 4.42. So you watch him, he has great play speed and there's great burst, but you just factor in the drops with like the 40 time, only 176 pounds. You know, he's tall, he's 6'1" and 7/8. Like there's only a few of those guys drafted before him are taller than him, but there are just a few of those things that you line up and say like, oh, that would, I see how you could slip now. Even if you don't expect him to like drop to the 4th round, drop problem, 176 pounds. The speed maybe isn't crazy speed. Like there are some things there. It's fast. It's fast. I'm not
because
gonna
like
say
a 4.38 and a 4.41 is like
it is.
It's like literally like
Definitely.
it's nothing.
Riley Moss with a 4.45. Like
It's
right
like
there.
nothing.
Luke McCaffrey a 4.46.
Yeah.
It's also not like that huge amount of time. So there's just some of those things, and you also have to factor in. Like I said, he's the only 2 or 3 receivers drafted in front of him or drafted overall were younger than him. He didn't play his senior year of high school football because of COVID. So like some of like the polishing up the route running, there could still be more in the tank. Like you get to decide you want to try to put more weight on him or not. But there's just a couple of those things that you're curious about. The small
I do feel
hands,
like he's a
you don't
slot.
love.
Every time you say
Yeah.
small hands, I think of Scary Movie. Have you guys seen?
I haven't seen that.
You guys haven't seen that?
No. Well, it came out when I was like 6.
No,
You got
of
to
course-
pull it
of
up.
course I haven't seen
Or like, just
We're
like the
watching the
picture of the
movie.
guy. We'll have to watch the
Movie in
movie.
class
You
today.
know what I'm saying? So you guys can see what like I'm envisioning.
Are they tiny hands?
Yeah.
They gotta be so small.